Is it possible for a person in the world to be so foolish as to actually believe in this theory? The unfortunate answer is yes, my friends. In America, 10% of people, in the UK, 3% of people, and in Brazil, 7% of people truly believe in this theory. Antarctica is surrounded by high ice mountains, and if you cross those mountains, you would fall off the earth. Wow! What logic? What happens to the sun and moon on this flat earth? How do day and night occur? What exactly is written about flat earth in the Bible and Quran? Hello friends. On September 28, 2002, 46-year-old Mike Hughes, living in America, breaks a very unusual world record. By profession, he was a limousine driver, and he makes a very long jump while sitting in his limousine. So specifically, a jump of 103 feet. Sitting in a 3,000-kilogram vehicle and jumping such a long distance becomes a world record for the longest limousine ramp jump. But Mike doesn't stop here. 12 years later, in 2014, he goes up to 1,300 feet in the air with a rocket he built in his own garage. When this rocket crashes, he gets injured, but he still isn't satisfied. In 2016, he reveals his plan to try to cross the atmosphere's boundary and go into outer space. And eventually, launching a rocket from a height of 32 kilometers using balloons. In America, he started being called Mad Mike because only a crazy person would perform such life-threatening daredevil stunts. To perform this new stunt, Mad Mike needed money. So, he started a Kickstarter campaign asking people for donations to raise approximately $100,000 to carry out the stunt. People weren't very interested in their plan. They only managed to collect $310. Only 2 people donated money for this. But after some time, Mike said something that suddenly led to thousands of dollars in donations coming their way. They say they don't put much trust in things like science, only in what their eyes can see. They claim that their real purpose behind doing this is to go to the heights of space and see if our Earth is truly round or not.
I believe the world is a different shape than what we were taught in those programming centers, which is called public school system. Now, the edge, which keeps all the oceans in, is a 150-foot ice wall, which is Antarctica.
Now, yesterday, the sun and the moon was in the sky here at the same time, which is not possible, in my belief, on a globe.
I don't believe anyone can convince me the world is round because they have no proof.
Friends, are there really so many foolish people in the world who truly believe that our Earth is not round? The answer is unfortunately yes.
And the Earth is?
Flat.
The Earth is flat.
My reality, my senses tell me that the Earth is flat and stationary.
Their Earth is indisputably not round.
Look at the survey conducted in the year 2021. Approximately 10% of the population in America genuinely believes that the Earth is flat, not round. If you look at the breakdown of different age groups, the new generation, Gen Z and millennials believe in this even more. But this conspiracy is not limited to America. About 3% of people in the UK believe that the Earth is flat, approximately 7% in Brazil, and about 8% in Bulgaria. In the country of Tunisia, a PhD student studying geology even attempted to submit a thesis. The Earth is flat, meaning even educated people believe in such foolish things. In fact, most people who believe in this aren't uneducated. They can read and write. They are educated. They watch videos on YouTube and also argue about their beliefs. Yet for some reason or another, they deny such simple facts. In today's video, let's delve deep into this flat Earth theory to understand how the Earth appears according to these people. What are some famous questions related to this theory? Does the Bible or Quran mention anything like this? And ultimately, why do people believe in such a foolish theory? Nowadays, with the internet, airplanes and spaceships, there are countless ways to prove that our Earth is round. Even thousands of years ago, people had an idea about this without all these things. Around 500 BC, the ancient Greek philosopher Pythagoras looked at the moon and the sun and noticed these are round, and just based on intuition, he guessed that if they are round, then the Earth would also be round. Then came Aristotle. Around 350 BC, they noticed that when a lunar eclipse occurs, the Earth's shadow on the moon appears round. They also observed that when they saw ships at sea, the distant ones on the horizon appeared. When they come closer, first we see the top part, then gradually the middle part, and lastly, we see the bottom part. From this, it can be inferred that the Earth is curved and round. Then in 200 BC, Eratosthenes came, who placed some sticks in the ground and observed the shadows at noon. One stick was placed in one spot and another stick was placed 1 kilometer away. There were slight differences in the shadows of both sticks, and based on this, he made his calculations. And estimated that the Earth's circumference is between 37,500 kilometers and 50,000 kilometers. Later, we found out that the actual circumference was 40,075 kilometers. By the year 1600, when Isaac Newton came, it had become taken for granted that the Earth was spherical. And nobody doubted this. But then in 1865 came a great man named Samuel Rowbotham, who wrote the great book Zetetic Astronomy. The book Earth Not a Globe is considered a classic by today's flat earth community. Listen to some of Samuel's arguments written in this book. This guy says that whenever I go to the sea and look far, the horizon always appears flat. If the Earth were round, it wouldn't appear flat, but curved. Moreover, he claims that the level of water in all the lakes and oceans is flat and not curved. He also claimed that the ground never appears curved, and no matter how far things seem, they always remain visible and never disappear from sight. According to him, this is why the Earth seems flat, not spherical. He called this approach zetetic, meaning that only what is visible to the eyes will be believed. Other scientists and philosophers would hear this and be frustrated. He created a new theory that the Earth looks like this. With the North Pole in the center, the entire Earth is flat, and at the ends, there are large ice mountains of Antarctica. If you cross those mountains, you will fall off the Earth. Some people who believe in the flat Earth theory think the opposite. They say that the mountains of Antarctica never end and extend endlessly, infinitely. What happens to the sun and moon in this flat Earth? How do day and night occur? An interesting model has been proposed by these people regarding this. According to them, the sun and moon move in circular paths above the Earth, and their light falls like a spotlight on an area. This recent model proposed by the Flat Earth community in America suggests that the sun and moon are only 50 kilometers in diameter and are about 5,500 kilometers above the Earth. But they circle. But in reality, as we know, the sun is approximately 150 million kilometers away from the Earth. And the moon is about 400,000 kilometers away from the Earth. In this flat Earth model, the paths of the sun and moon are depicted in such a way that summer and winter are distant. Mark Sargent, who is almost the leader of today's flat Earth community, claims that sunlight is warm and moonlight is cold. The proof they provide is also quite interesting. They say, during the day, check the temperature inside the house and outside. When you stand in the sun, it gets very warm. But at night, if you do the same thing, check the temperature inside the house, and outside when the moon is out, the outside temperature appears cooler. Wow, what logic? Well, such stupid ideas come to everyone's mind. It's not a big deal. But the problem arises when you start believing your stupid ideas without thinking or verifying them. In today's times, there really shouldn't be any problem because whatever questions you have, AI tools like ChatGPT will give you an immediate answer. Just ask, is moonlight cold? Go ahead. You will get an instant answer based on the latest scientific evidence. Let's come back to Samuel. In his time, he wasn't alone. The modern flat earth movement originated in the late 1800s. Another famous book is from 1885, 100 Proofs That the Earth is Not a Globe, written by William Carpenter. These people also initially relied on religion. Deliberately, they began to misinterpret these Bible quotes. In the Bible, Revelation chapter 7 verse 1 states, "And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth." This doesn't mean that the earth actually has corners, that corners actually exist. It's just a way of speaking. But what these people do is interpret it literally. They say, no, the Bible mentions the 4 corners of the earth. Observe this map created in 1893, where the earth is depicted as a square with 4 angels at its corners. Similarly, in Genesis chapter 1 verse 6, it states, "And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." These people say that here, waters above refer to the sky, and waters below refer to the sea. And there is a dome that divides these things. So they created a model in which this flat earth is like a dome. A whole book was published on this in 2016, Firmament Vaulted Dome of the Earth. Today, about 70% of people who believe in the flat earth theory also adhere to this dome theory. They believe that this firmament dome type structure covers the earth and that the earth actually looks like this. Now the same thing is done with the Quran, where Quranic verses are deliberately misinterpreted to prove the flat earth theory. Chapter 71 verse 19 states, "And Allah has made the earth for you, spread out as a carpet." Now those who want to misinterpret it say that spread out as a carpet means completely flat. But sensible people say that spread out means spread all over, vast, expansive, making the earth accessible. This is why, since the 9th and 10th century AD, most Muslim and Christian scholars have been believing in a spherical earth. However, every now and then, a few people do emerge, like in this 2015 article, where a Muslim cleric from Saudi Arabia claims the earth is stationary. A common pattern, friends, that is often seen among members of the flat earth community is that those who believe in this conspiracy theory also believe in many other different conspiracy theories. The same survey I showed at the beginning of the video, the same percentage of people believe that vaccines have microchip delivery. Some people believe that NASA and all other space agencies are frauds. Some even say that gravity doesn't exist and dinosaurs never existed. According to these people, if you look at the United Nations logo, a flat earth is depicted there because this logo, it is not possible to draw a spherical shape in 2 dimensions. But if you make these kinds of arguments with these people, you will hear equally bizarre responses. Or they will tell you how Antarctica was not drawn on this map. Here we come to the mindset of these people. What is the reason that some people come to believe in such foolish theories?
Everybody here can agree on absolutely one thing, which is it is not a globe.
1, 2, 3.
There can be 4 reasons for this. The first is convenience. People tend to believe explanations that sound simpler and more convenient because it's simply easy to understand. For example, you hear about global warming. On one hand, I give you a very detailed explanation, show a lot of data, charts on how carbon dioxide levels have been increasing over the years, leading to a rise in global temperature. But on the other hand, a person tells you, which of the 2 explanations would you believe more? Hopefully, most of you would say that the first explanation is more believable because it shows more data and discusses it on a scientific basis. But unfortunately, friends, there are also many people who simply choose the easy path, the convenient explanation. And this explanation is not just convenient because of its simplicity. It is also convenient because people won't have to take any action on their part. There will be nothing to fear. If you believe that there is no such thing as global warming, then there will be no need to change anything within yourself. It will also end making it a convenient pet. The second reason is intuition, things that seem right at first glance. Because your intuition, your gut feeling, tells you it must be that way, so you tend to believe it more. So for example, in the case of the flat earth, people think that there's no need to study gravity, math, or science. Whatever I see with my own eyes, I will consider true. When I look around, I see the ground is flat, stretching far and wide everywhere. So it appears flat, so the earth must be flat too. In reality, the earth is so large that noticing its curvature is not easy while standing on the ground. This is why flat earthers believe that if they can see buildings in the distance, it means the earth must be flat. If the earth were curved, they argue they shouldn't be able to see those buildings. People should trust their gut feelings and observations more than science. There is a psychological effect called the Dunning-Kruger effect. According to this, if people have very little knowledge in a certain field, they tend to overestimate their competency. They overestimate their knowledge. They believe they know a lot about that thing. As the knowledge level starts to increase, people realize that actually they have less knowledge. Gradually, they begin seeing their competence as lower. When they truly start gaining knowledge, then they gradually realize that yes, now they are knowledgeable in this field as can be depicted in this graph. People spreading conspiracy theories like flat earth often say to do your own research, come to your own conclusions. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Everyone should do their own research. However, when this is taken to an extreme level, if you tell someone with limited understanding to do their own research, someone who doesn't know how to research, they start relying on their intuition, we should always remember that understanding complex problems and issues is not always a convenient and intuitive process. When Samuel wrote his book in 1865 to prove the flat earth, he first conducted his own experiment. The special thing about this river is that it flows in a completely straight line for quite a long stretch. They sat with a telescope 8 inches above the water, saying that if the earth is truly round, the flag should no longer be visible through the telescope after some distance. For 6 miles, they observed this boat and flag and saw the flag consistently. It means the earth is flat. Now, if you look at it superficially, their explanation might seem correct, but Samuel was chasing convenience and they were chasing intuition. They did not account for a complex process called refraction. The flag was visible to them in reality because the light was refracting. You learned in school, right, that when light passes through different densities from hot air to cool air, it bends. So they weren't actually seeing the flag, but rather a mirage of the flag. The same thing happens in the desert, where due to light refraction, it appears as though water is on the ground, but in reality, it's the sky being reflected. It is also famously called the mirage. 5 years after Samuel's book was published, there was another flat earther named John Hampden who in the year 1870 made a bet that anyone who could prove Samuel's experiment wrong would be given a prize of £500. The famous biologist of that time, Alfred Wallace, accepted this bet and designed his own experiment to prove it wrong. They went to the same river and placed a black band on a bridge above this river, which is 13 feet high. Then they went 6 miles away from the river and observed it through a telescope. But this time, to eliminate refraction, they placed a pole on the beach at the midpoint of 3 miles, where they installed a disc at a height of 13 feet and another disc at a height of 9 feet. If the earth is flat, then the black band on this bridge would not be visible through their telescope because the disc on the pole at the beach would block it coming exactly in the line of sight. But when they actually looked, they saw something like this. These could only be possible if the earth had a curvature set to Mises, which would make the diagram look like this. The 2 discs on the beach pole appeared above their black band. Although most people who believe in such conspiracy theories either do not use their critical thinking skills or lack critical thinking altogether. The actual meaning of critical thinking is to always examine your thoughts with a critical perspective. If you're reaching a conclusion through your research, take a moment to question yourself. Could there be something else you've missed? Always question your thoughts. If you're thinking this way, why is that? When you formed your opinion on something, was it influenced by your inherent bias? Always question yourself. If they were truly so adamant about their experiment, they would try to repeat their experiment from different perspectives, in different ways, to solidify their conclusion. What problem arises? Doing this is not convenient. It's a hassle, it's complex. If you question yourself and look at different perspectives, the easy thing is to believe whatever the first intuition in your mind is without critical thinking. So people who fall victim to such conspiracy theories do exactly this. The fourth reason is mistrust of authorities or institutions. And this one is quite interesting. On one hand, these people have blind belief in conspiracy theories, but on the other hand, they also have blind skepticism towards people on the other side. If you tell flat earthers, look, NASA took this picture of the earth, they simply won't believe it because they don't trust NASA. They will reject whatever evidence you try to present to them. According to them, the entire education system of the world is a conspiracy against them. America, Russia, China, India, according to them, all countries are part of this conspiracy. But even here, if they use a bit of critical thinking, they will realize how flawed their logic is. Countries like America and Russia, which are almost always against each other in every matter, how did they suddenly come together to prove the earth is round? The very first photo of earth that was taken was this one. On the 24th of October 1946, America sent a suborbital rocket which went up to a height of about 104 kilometers and took some photos. This photo was taken by a Soviet communication satellite. It's amazing that both America and the Soviet Union, who were so against each other during the Cold War, they came together for this conspiracy. It might sound like nonsense to you, but ask these flat earthers and this is what they believe. According to them, these space agencies that were sending rockets into space, this is madness. Speaking of madness, let's get back to the story of Mad Mike, which I mentioned at the beginning of the video. By using the flat earth cause in his campaign, he managed to collect about $8,500 for his stunt. And in the year 2018, he reaches approximately 1,900 feet and this time comes down safely with a parachute. They were progressing towards their goal, but their next flight on the 22nd of February 2020 turned out to be their last. As they launched themselves in a homemade rocket, their parachute burst out. Their true reality also comes to light after their death, revealing that they did not actually believe in any flat earth theory. They didn't even believe in it. Like, he was just a stunt man who wanted to push his boundaries by doing outrageous things. He pretended to be a flat earther to fool the flat earth community and get donations from them.